Hello everybody and welcome. It is Monday the 5th of June, a new month. How time passes. It's 2017. I'm Dakian and I've painted some cultists. And now you can see I've gone with a purple and yellow color scheme, some contrasting colors here. Went with the dirty yellow for the robes of the cultists and purple hoods, and I've gone with a sort of heavy shading for the tunics or robes, and a bit more subtle for their other pieces of clothing. Now, in the front here, you'll notice that I mentioned last time that there were slightly different scales on some of these minis, and you'll see the ones in the front are the ones in the sort of more delicate scale, more fine, as opposed to these guys. I'm not sure how well it comes across, but the older sculpts here were a bit more, as I think I put it, chunky in the sculpt. See here, compare them side by side. See, this guy looks decidedly more yeah, big and brutal. And let's compare two axe wielders. You can see the difference. And between the two leaders here, you can see a clear difference. Here we have the purple man, essentially, who looks like really thin compared to this other guy. Now I painted him. I sort of I was experimenting with the color of his suit. I didn't really know what to make of it, and it just came out this sort of dark brown gray kind of color. I suppose it's realistic but a little boring. But the focal point isn't the suit, it's his face and his book. That's what's interesting about him. And finally, I painted this miniature, which is called a Daughter of Shub-Niggurath. It's a monster. It's a weird sculpt. It's kind of, it doesn't seem like sculpt was planned in any way. It's just kind of random features globbed onto it, which I suppose is appropriate. That's chaotic and sort of Cthulhuoid. But it led to the painting scheme becoming the same, kind of random. But anyway, I'm reasonably pleased with how all of these turned out. So, the first batch of the Achtung Cthulhu minis are prepped and primed. I've primed them in a couple of different colors. These sort of hero characters, this is Investigators Set 1, are primed white. Here's clearly somebody who is trying to do some sort of ritual. Here is somebody engaged in fighting off some sort of tentacle monster. He has a bit of a tentacle in one hand. And here is someone who is herself kind of possessed by some sort of demonic being, possibly using it for good. In the fiction they've written for the game, she is actually a hero of sorts. These were all multi-piece models, and this one was a bit tricky to put together. I sort of had to guess where to place the sort of portal on her back. It wasn't exactly clear from the pictures, but I think I figured it out. Most of them were relatively simple. Like, for example, on this Pathfinder, his right arm was a separate piece, but it was really clear it had a very clear attachment point. No problem figuring that out. This one it says left arm and so forth. A little trickier were these multi-part. These guys are called Badger's Commandos, and they each have a backpack which is separate, a gun, and usually an arm, or part of the arm that goes with the gun, and in some cases this cable. For these kneeling guys, the right arm and the gun is one piece. The left arm was a different piece, and then there's the backpack, and I had to put them all together. And you'll notice this cable is different. I actually have some bits left over. Where are they? I have some more of these things, because for some of these models there was a cable molded into it, already attached to the gun, so I just had to bend it and attach it to glue it to the backpack, which was simpler than attaching something, gluing something at 2 points, which I had to do with this one. I could have cut these off and replaced them with these, because there are extra bits, as I said, in the blister, and that would have made it more cohesive and perhaps visually a little bit more interesting, but a lot trickier, a lot more work to get that to function. So I actually went the lazy route here. I'm sorry, but I did. So only this guy has this sort of cable, but he's different in other ways as well. He's the only one with a kilt, for example. And also, I believe, the only one with a beard. Yeah, he's a Highlander. Yeah. So these are very nice sculpts. A lot of good detail. Not the realistic detail, not too much, not over the top in any way. And I think they should paint up very nicely. And so my plan for the near future is just to keep on trucking with all these Achtung Cthulhu minis. And I've shown you all the boxes and blisters already, but I thought I'd unbox the ones I think are up next in line for you. This Servitor Horde of Nyarlathotep, which you can tell are people in German uniforms that have been horribly mutated. And it says here it contains 2 servitor overlords, some sort of leaders with the MP40s, that is submachine guns, and 8 servitors. Now, so let's see what's inside the box. They're very solidly packaged. They have a whole box like this inside. The outer kind of flimsy box, they have a very sturdy box inside. And you open it up, and there's a little folder with, I don't know, ads, and some foam, some bases. Let's see if they are the good bases. Yes, they are from D&G. And on top of another layer of foam, we have the baggies. One that seems to contain all the bodies, and 2 with other details. I'm not sure why this little sprue gets its own baggie, and this baggie contains like a bunch of other small sprues. But like I said, not sure what the difference is. We'll probably see eventually. Let's empty this out and see what we've got. So there should be 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, indeed there are. And even if one of them, this guy, looks really different. It's like a monster sprouting out of a body. Yeah, it's this guy here. So, It looks really weird. Most of the others are of the humanoids with weird heads variant. Oh, tails also in some cases. So yeah, as with the ones I've already prepared, there's a lot of extra detail. There's a lot of stuff. These are definitely not one-piece castings. They all need something to be glued on. Every single one. They all have, in this case, all the heads are separate, and at least one arm. In some cases, both arms. But let's see if we can see. There's a close-up of the detail on this mini. It's pretty fine. Is it in focus? I might have a bit too much light here. I'm not sure. I'll have to see when I watch this back. Here's another one. The barrel needs straightening. And this is one of the submachine gunners. The MP40s. And that sort of gives you an idea. I don't know if I need to show you the heads and whatnot in great detail. So the heads are mostly, the pieces that need to be added are like these tentacles or tongues, maybe. If they're in Nyarlathotep, they're probably cultists of the Red Tongue. Oh well. We'll see how these go together. Closing out this week, we have an unpacking of a Kickstarter, and this is a big one. This is from Raging Heroes, Toughest Girls in the Galaxy to these. This is the second half of the delivery of all the stuff I got, and we have a lot of stuff here, and it's not, well, let me have that. So there's a lot of plastic here, well, resin, not plastic. So inside these bigger baggies, there's a lot of smaller baggies with the individual character models, which come on sprues, like this, and with many parts. And other people have unboxed and assembled these Raging Heroes, Toughest Girls in the Galaxy minis. You can search the YouTube for them if you want. And the takeaway is that there's a lot of fiddly bits, and you have to be careful when cleaning and preparing these. And especially when cleaning, because there is apparently quite a lot of mold release on these. They need to be thoroughly washed. As I think, I don't know if I mentioned it, I mostly bought the sisters, that is the sort of warrior nuns in the fantasy versions, not the sci-fi, not the Sisters of Battle, but the others. And, well, here's a big bag of basis, and this is all characters, and so is this. These little mini sprues, though, these are the troops of various kinds. And this is kind of an odd one, but you can see here's the lower body and here's the upper body, and the head, I believe, is here, or part of the head. So okay, yeah, so this is the actual head here, and this is the cowl, perhaps, is it? The hair and cowl? Or is it an alternate head? Is it that you can have a bare head or a dressed one? I'm not sure. It's a bit unclear. And the question is, are these all the same? No, they are different. So this one has a quite different pose with the legs. But it's the same one bare head, and I I can't really tell. My eyesight is not good enough, but it looks like a face inside that cowl. And this certainly looks like a head as well. So maybe you get the option. Maybe you get the option of a cowled or bare head for all of these, which is interesting. And they have these strange, big, probably two-handed swords that don't have a tip. They're sort of squared off, which looks like an executioner's sword. I suppose that's the aesthetic they're going for. I don't think such a sword would be practical in battle, but oh well. I mean, it would only be useful for cutting. I mean, that's the thing with an executioner's sword, is it's like an axe. You only chop off heads with it. You never stab anyone with it. But a sword for use in battle, you would need to, I mean, not having any thrust capability at all would be quite detrimental, I think. So, points docked for realism. It might be cool. I don't know. This is another sprue. This one is somebody having a big warhammer. And yeah, I'm not going to unbox all of these. But it's a lot of stuff. And again, because I'm not painting fantasy at the moment, it's going to lie in this box for quite a while before I get around to it. Oh well, such is the folly of Quickstarter and Shiny Syndrome. Anyway, that was what I had to show you this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Click like and subscribe and comment if you did. And join me next week for another Monday Miniatures Ramble. Until then, I'm Dakion, signing off.